just talking about young people and how the People's Democratic Party included them in their convention. Guess what? Today, November the 1st, has been designated National Youth Day by President Muhammadu Buhari. And to that effect, he also did say that there should be an establishment of a 75 billion naira Nigeria Youth Investment Fund called the NYIF, and it's supposed to last at least 3 years. The question now is, what has become of that fund? How are young people accessing it? Is it making an impact on their lives? To talk about this, we have with us Duke Alamboye, who is the National Secretary General of the Nigerian Youth Organization. You're welcome to Sunrise Elite this morning.
Thank you very much.
I'm just wondering, first and foremost, what group of people does your youth organization encompass?
Well, the Nigerian Youth Organization is a national youth body that is under the supervision of the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Mm-hmm. We are cut across the federation. We have all our state executives intact and the state arm intact down to the local government, and then the national body with our board of trustees intact. So it's a nation thing. Once you are within the age of youth, you become a member by registering in any of the states to become a participant of the organization.
You have to register to be a part of the organization.
Yes, you have to identify with the organization to be a member of the organization. And basically, we are almost 30-something years of age. We've been in existence until the National Youth this thing was formed. That is the NYSC was formed.
So how many members do you have? Do you have an idea of how many members you have nationwide?
Nationwide, we are right up to about 60 billion, if I'm not mistaken. We're about 30-something million. And that is because of our wide spread. Every state we have. You have
30-something million members?
Yes, Nigerian Youth Organization. Yes, we are.
That is interesting because I was a young person at some point if I have passed the age of 35.
The problem is that the youth organizations have been so silent for a while because of the ministry is not really engaging youths in that directive. So what always happens is the sponsorship of things that happen abroad. Locally, if you observe for the past 16 or so years, we've not really had anything about those things that united you, those things that brought the youths together.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because I was just about to say I've never heard that there was any membership drive, there was any publicity, awareness on the part of the Nigerian Youth Organization.
We do.
There is a publicity drive. I attended a Nigerian university. Yes, I know about NANS, the national body. Yes, I don't know about the Nigerian Youth Organization.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Outside school, youth politics. Immediately you come outside, you do not really actually hear about these youth organizations because of the activities. These ones are tied to government, while the ones in school are tied to school policies, enhancing school activities and all of that.
Yeah, but one would also think that you'd be very active at the National Youth Service Corps camps.
Yes,
to increase membership drive and to increase awareness of the organization.
Yes, we are affiliated to that body. We often do programs in collaboration. Like recently, the last program we did at the International Youth Day, it was in collaboration with the NYSC. Yeah, and it was a loud one at Merit House. So we are doing lots of collaboration.
No, not just the leadership of the NYSC. I'm not talking about. I'm talking about the actual youth core members.
Yes. We're in collaboration with them and we're doing a lot with them.
Okay, well, a lot might have changed since I was a youth core member, so I would not question you too much on that. But let's talk about this fund. 75 billion naira was what was approved by the president last year, and obviously setting a whole day aside as a Nigerian as a day to celebrate young people, 1st of November, pretty significant.
Yeah.
There have been questions as to what has happened to that fund. how, first and foremost, was it just approved with word of mouth, or was it cash backed? That's one. And let's start with that one.
Yeah, well, first, before I go into that, let me quickly once more, out of our benevolence, still thank the president to have set aside a day for Nigerian youths to celebrate or to gather our grievances to present to government. I don't know what we're celebrating, but we thank him for even setting aside such day in the history of our country for youths to come together discussing issues that affect our existence. That being said, the issue of this fund you're talking about was also approved. I am aware it was approved. It's not a mouth say. Actually, the president had lots of concern for Nigerian youths. The only problem here is the ministry have not been able to draw those lines of concern. They end in policy, they end in mere say. It is left for the ministry to pursue those policies, those implementations that would have brought about youth enhancement in the country to make it up. As I speak to you, I think the last publication we heard about this fund was sometime September. Just about 1.6 million naira that had been disbursed to
Million?
Nigeria. Yes, sorry, billion, sorry, that has been disbursed. And we are told, if we see the ratio at which it was shared, about 20-something billion was supposed to be set aside for for disbursement for this year alone. And
disbursed to who?
To the Nigerian youths. To the Nigerian youths. It is to
youths. By youths, you mean members of your own organization?
No, not members. Nigerian youths at large. It's not. We have several national youth bodies under the supervision of the ministry. So what they're supposed to do is to put these things at awareness on their website, post to us, send to round the country, governors, essays, round. This is what it's supposed to be. Then, by the virtue of qualification, you're qualified to having those disbursements into your account for effectiveness. But what we've seen is only 1.6 billion being disbursed, and we keep also asking, where are we going? What is the ministry doing? What is the essay to the president doing about all this? Because this is where they are supposed to come in to make sure that we are well organized and these things are carried out.
Let's flip this to Lagos now. I know that we have another guest via Zoom. Gentlemen.
Well, yes, we've got Victor Anilaju, who is the convener. Help Campaign is also an entrepreneur. Good morning, Victor. Thank you for joining us on the program today. Well, maybe lump this to, how significant is this day for you, perhaps in addition to this fund, this youth investment fund that is supposed to run for 3 years?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Chinese, for having me. Congratulations once more for your award as one of the astounding TV or media station in Africa. For me, I want to say it's still all about politics. What the youth need as of today is not fund. We have outgrown fund. We want to take charge of our country. We want to lead our destiny. The fund is nowhere. It's just a mere statement. You, at least the media house, you can tell us, have you seen any direct impact in the life of the youths? Are you hearing the youth saying life is becoming better now? Life is becoming worse. Our youths, we don't have food to eat. We don't have house to sleep. There is no job. We don't need fund. We want to take charge of our country, right? So anybody saying we have raised fund, keep your fund. We don't need the fund. What we need inclusiveness in governance. We need young people occupying our House of Assembly, our Senate houses, and our presidential villa. We need young minds there. We are sick and tired of these old, incompetent politicians from these too big for nothing parties. At this point in time, what we advise or what we look up to our father, the president of Nigeria, to do is to start thinking, how do we shift power to the next generation? And this is where they are missing it. And they keep saying it's not about age. Now, look at what we are saying here. What we are saying is that there is a set of persons that need to come into power.
Okay, Victor, we'll go to break, but we'll return and let you continue your train of thoughts. Just hang on a minute. We will be back. Welcome back. Well, Victor, you say you like to see young people occupy certain positions in office, in governance. What stops that from happening?
Okay, so like I said, currently now, the two big for nothing parties, PDP and APC, have occupied our government houses with old, incompetent politicians who have not been able to deliver anything to the Nigerian people, especially we, the young people of Nigeria. Now, as we speak right now, yesterday we had a meeting, myself and the young people like from NAS, we had a meeting, and by first quarter of next year, we are launching a platform. Now we are no more depending on these old incompetent politicians to create way for us. Now we are setting up our own platform, and this platform we're going to use it to empower. When I mean empower, it's not to give them money, it's to create jobs for young Nigerians. And we're coming out to train young Nigerians with good skill. We're launching an app that will create job for you right from your house, right? When we do this, by towards the end of next year, we will flag up our own political party, and you are going to see it from Senate to House of Assembly to the seat of the president. We will have young people representing us from the age of 50 down to about 25. We will have people representing us with creative ideas that will bring forth the innovation and the development that we so desire in Nigeria.
Okay, so Victor, does that then suggest that, because it appears that the different youth bodies, youth organizations, don't you think it will be stronger or better if they all pull together such that it could be one complex whole? For instance, do you subscribe to the philosophy or ideology of Duke Alamboye's National Youth Organization, for instance?
Okay, see, for example, so what we are doing now, we have created a platform. We are launching it first quarter of next year. So with that platform, we'll be able to bring all the youth into one platform where we can function together, right? All the youth right now as we speak, we are all saying the same thing. We might be saying it from different angles, but that is the unique thing about it. So one person does not hijack it, right? But we are bringing everything into a platform that you can monitor, you can watch, you can join whatever is happening. They stop us from...
Chamberlain, put to you, just a second, Victor. The question put to you is, would you be willing to work with existing organizations? There's, as you heard him say, the National Youth Organization, you know there's a Youth Council of Nigeria and so many others there. Why create another one when there are some that are already existing? Couldn't you find a way to pull the resources together?
The issue here is not the group or the association. We are all working together. We are talking about a platform that will enable us to work in terms of creating jobs and in terms of getting our young people to be part of governance. We are bringing entrepreneurship into Nigerian leadership. So, and we have to do this on a platform, because currently now they have stopped us from carrying out our fundamental human rights, which is when we come out in March to protest against what they are doing. But right now, we have been able to secure a platform that you can join from anywhere, and you will be seeing it launch very soon. Youth from whatever organization, as far as you are a young person in this country, you will be allowed to be part of it, and everybody has a role to play. Everybody has a seat to play. I am contesting to be the next president of Nigeria. I want to contest with young visionary leaders. And we are sick and tired. Look at what PDP did during this last weekend.
Mr. Anilaju,
it was a mad disgrace.
I'd like to continue on that trail of thought. In fact, I'll take you to another area which has been in debate for a while. But let me just quickly bounce this off the National Secretary General of the NYO, who's in our Abuja studio, and ask, I haven't heard Mr. Anilaju saying, well, the youths don't need funds. What they need is to be a part of governance. But you say that, well, the funds are not even really quite available. You want more funds. So I wonder, this is for the National Secretary General of the National Youth Organization, who is in our Abuja studio. So I haven't heard Mr. Victor. I just wonder, what's your opinion? Do you subscribe to that, do I call it an ideology now, that the youths don't need funds, they actually need to be a part of government?
we have so many aspects where we're agitating from. One of it is governance, as you have said, and we cannot mix up governance to investment. When we want to have the youth investments to come up, it has to do with money. That is where I think this government, this Mohamed Buhari government, is trying to put its strengths by making funds available for the Nigerian youths to have this, what they call the MSME programs, light skills investment in the country, encouraging little trades and all of that. I think that's what the government is doing, and that's why this monies, even the CBN anchor borrowers scheme is up to encourage agriculture. The 70 billion naira fund is out there to also encourage traders, youth, Nigerian youth that are interested in trading. That is quite different from governance. When we want to talk about inclusion in governance, it has to do with our purpose of coming together, like he explained perfectly. We agree with that, but I think if we are going to say totally we don't need money, what do they do with these monies? Or can they reverse this money into meaningful investitures that can empower the Nigerian youth towards employment, towards meaningful engagement? This is the question we're going to ask. In the absence of that, we can see that nothing is going on. In the absence of that, these funds they've made available for such projects, we are still begging those funds should be released for those projects. So I think there are two different things. There are two agitations that are coming in line, and we cannot let any of it go. That is in my own opinion, that's what I think it should be. We need the money for our even uneducated, skilled youths in the country to rely on, to have their investments going on, while the educated ones are the ones that are interested in governance can actually join the crusade to fighting for inclusiveness in governance.
Okay, so Mr. Lamboye, let me take this back to Victor Anilaju on Zoom. So clearly for Mr. Lamboye, they need the funds and to be a part of governance as well, which is quite different for what you say. You say you just want to focus on governance, be a part of governance. But so making the point about having young people in office, it sounds as though you're saying you want a general takeover of young people in offices from the president all the way down. And it sounds like you will now be perpetrating what you're accusing the current stock of politicians of doing, which is exclusion, as it were. So can you wish away, really? I wonder if that's what you're thinking, the wisdom of the older generation, the experience of the older generation. Are you trying to wish that away and say, you know what, we want a complete takeover. You can go with your wisdom, your experience and all that. Let us take charge now. Is that what you're planning?
The truth about it is that their experience have nothing to help us right now. Your experience of being using a typewriter machine has nothing to do with the digital space right now. We actually don't need them.
Oh, okay. It's interesting you were talking about the typewriter.
Their experience.
The network failed.
Their experience has brought us more harm. Yeah, yes, I can hear you now. I can hear you now. Their experience has brought us more harm than good. Whatever wisdom, if they have wisdom, they would have fixed this country now. Look at where we are today. As of today, $1 is going for 570 something naira. And we call that experience? Like, seriously, how did we get here? Like, and you still find that some people still gather out of the...
I would say the network, the digital network is failing us at this very crucial time where we're talking about, you know, the wisdom and experience of the old and the vibrancy of the young. But let's take this to Abuja. We have a guest joining us as well. Mark.
Indeed. Thank you, Kayode. We have with us this morning Segun Dada, who is a member of the APC Youth Progressives Forum. It's interesting that your colleague here in the studio has differentiated between governance and investment. Well, the guest from Lagos, seems to marry the two of them and seems to be pretty distraught in terms of how both major political parties have led the country. You happen to belong to one of them, which is the APC. And interestingly, under the leadership of the president, who is a member of your party, he's declared a National Youth Day. Nonetheless, under this administration, we've also witnessed the biggest youth protests, the End SARS protests. Last month, October, is now significant in that regard, in terms of how young people are channeling their grievances. And 1st of November is National Youth Day. There's also been a fund created to that effect to try and ensure that there is a pool from which young people can draw and perhaps go into some, entrepreneurship, so to speak. How are you, as a member, as a young person, a member of the APC, able to marry this when you're engaging in conversations with other young people who are not political? I mean, maybe I don't mean by non-political, I mean not members of any political party, but feel hard done by with how governments, perhaps this one and other governments, have treated young people in this country?
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to. First of all, it's not about just the Youth Day that has been created by this president. We must also realize that this president was the one that signed the Not Too Young to Run bill. That's number one. It was passed by a joint National Assembly controlled by our party as well. The president also commissioned that our party have a progressive youth conference, which we did in June of this year, which was headed by our leader, our national leader, Barrister Ismail Ahmed, where we made a lot of decisions, and we passed those decisions on to the president. The vice president was there, the SGF, every one of them was there. The party leadership was there as well. And on top of all of this, the president also gave an approval for convening a national youth conference, which is starting today. So, as I speak to you right now, there are young people who are going to be acting as delegates from all over the country that are going to be in the stadium, the national stadium today, discussing these issues. I mean, this is also the theme of their. They're
not just members of your political party.
No, they're not members of. They're not just members of the political party. This event, this particular program is organized by the Ministry of Youth and Sport, and we believe that it's open to everybody. And as a young person, I'm a Nigerian first before my party. So I believe that's part of the things that the government has done for young people. But you see, I was listening to my friend in the studio in Lagos. I really love his passion. I love the way he has been speaking. But he seems not to understand a lot of things about a lot of things. I want to start from somewhere. See, ageism currently in this country is the last acceptable form of prejudice that we have. We think that by saying, oh, we want this old man out, I want to come in. The presenter said it. We're basically not practicing what we're preaching, because this country is not for young people alone. It is filled with the old, it is filled with the disabled, it is filled with all sorts of demography. Yes, the youth demography is the biggest demography. The youth demography is perhaps the most creative demography. But being a youth is a face. And the one thing that this government is trying to do right now, to the best of my knowledge, is ensure that young people have a place. Young people have a place. And that has not just been a word of mouth issue. It has been done in terms of, like I said, the Not Too Young to Run bill, which was signed by the president, the Progressive Youth Conference, and now the National Youth Conference. So obviously the president wants to leave a good legacy where young people, and already within our party, young people are having a lot of stake. We comment on several issues, and we also call on our leaders. We call them out when we feel they're not doing things the right way.
So I was under the impression that the Progressives Youth Conference, which you held, was some sort of pressure conference to impress it upon your party that young people will not be taken for granted, that you needed them to take young people more seriously and give positions, or perhaps, I don't know whether it's reserved positions, but to say that, look, we will not be, second fiddle when it comes to politics. You want to be able to take front and center stage as well. Am I correct on that?
You are correct. But for you to understand where we're coming from, we have never been second fiddle in our party. Yes, there have been attempts, which is normal, by the old guard, the old brigade, to kind of, push us aside a little bit. But the thing is, in 2013, when the merger was going on, all the young people from all the political parties that formed the APC came together and formed what is known as the All Progressives Youth Forum. And up to right now, that forum is still existing. Most of our members have gone on to become non-youths, but are still providing, their own view. So that conference was just a continuation of what we, the young people of the APC, have always been. That's, like you rightly said, we will not be pushed aside, and we will not be taken for granted. And we have always taken. And the president, to his credit, has always given us a listening ear.
So the only snag in that, I mean, all that you have talked about is that you haven't quite addressed the issue of NSAS and the management, or the government's management of this particular protest, which was chiefly by young people, and how they were being treated by in an agency of government. How do you reconcile, that in the conversations that you have?
Yes, yeah. So first of all, the one thing we must accept, first of all, is that there is no young person that is immune from police brutality, not in Nigeria, not anywhere all over the world. But as a young Nigerian that lives in this country, I have had several encounters with the police that's made me, question the very thing. But the problem here is that it is not a party problem. The police is going to do what it's going to do, irrespective of which party is in power. Now, if you want to talk about police brutality, and we are talking about...
The idea is for the political parties, when they're in power, to try and correct them.
Yes. So, during Occupy Nigeria, more young people were shot at, were killed. That was when PDP was in government. And right now, the moment this NSAS protest started, I was 100% for it. And my opinion was, disband these people and let us reform the way the police sees young people in this country. But the problem now becomes a situation where we see the police. Yeah, we might not be happy with everything they are doing. But the thing is that these people have probably the most difficult job in this country. They deal with the worst of the worst, if we want to be very honest with ourselves. So it comes to a point where we have to accept that we need to continue to propose to government. And that's what the government did. They ended the unit known as SARS. It ended it. So the president directed that all the states should set up panels, judicial panels, to investigate these issues, which they did. So I think that to a great extent, this government has given a lot of much more listening. And whenever I engage young people my age, I make them understand that, we can never have a very perfect situation. But what we can have is that we can continue to push and continue to push and continue to ask for reform. It's never going to be perfect.
Well, I know that Victor has a reaction to that. Victor from Lagos, if you can hear me, I think you can go ahead with your response.
I can hear you very well. I really can hear you very well. The young man over there is talking for his party. Nigeria is bigger than APC and PDP put together. I'm talking on behalf of the Nigerian youths all together, whether a party member of the present government, that is made up of these old, incompetent politicians, have not done us any good. Whether you sign in a not too young to wrong bill, you are not doing us a favor. You are doing what you were voted into power to do. So they should keep that aside. This is where we are getting it all wrong. When we are asking for inclusiveness in governance, we are asking for our life. We need to breathe fresh air. We need good life. We can't continue like this. We can't. We don't need funds. That's not what we need. What we need to be in the seat of power and lead our country the way we want our country to work for us. If Nigeria goes bad today, we are the one that is suffering it the most. This only competent politicians have lived their life. They have embezzled a lot of money, stuck somewhere outside this country. So if anything goes wrong in this country,
Victor,
they are out of Nigeria.
Let me quickly take the reaction. Right? If you can hear me, let me quickly take the reaction of Duke. You want to quickly intervene on this matter as we wrap up?
Yes, as we wrap up. I think basically, I think there's a mix-up somewhere. I'm thinking that there's a very big gap between the ministry and the government, in government passing the presidency. Like I started earlier telling you, the presidency had outlined policies, youth-friendly policies, this government. I can name 5 of it. But translating it into reality, that is where the problem lies. Because of that, our youth have engaged themselves in insecurity, lots of other vices, social vices. If these things, these policies are...
Name 1 or 2, just of the...
The National Investment Fund, the anchor borrowers, then there's one other one.
Grants.
The grants, there's grants about 60 billion.
They're all financial...
They are all financial intervention, financial youth intervention, national. The problem is that the ministry that is in charge have not really gone out to pick out these investments to the reach of the Nigerian youth. That is where the problem is. It's not as if this government had not done or is not friendly to youth. They are. We've seen these policies, we've heard it discussed in the National Assembly, we've heard them passed. So, the problem is the minister, the essay to the president on youth, go down to these areas where these things are shocked in, get down to CBN, smuggle it out, get down to those ministries that concern it. What about Festus Kayamo's ministry?
We really have to go now.
The 1,000 youth, whatever.
We really have to go now. I have to thank you.
The ministry needs to go in and make sure that these things comes out for the usefulness of
we certainly will try our
youth.
best to get a hold of the Minister of Youth,
yes.
Sports and Youth Development. I believe that's the title of the ministry. But we have to thank you, gentlemen, for finding time to share your thoughts with us on this beautiful day, 1st of November, which is also the National Youth Day, Nigeria's National Youth Day, as declared by President Muhammadu Buhari. We've been speaking with Segun Dada, who is a member of the APC Youth Progressives Forum, Duke Alamboye, who is the National Secretary General of the Nigerian Youth Organization, and Victor Ani Laju, who joined us via Zoom. He is the convener of Help Campaign.